So I will present to you what I created in WTP. While creating this project in WTP, I realized the engineering need is craftsmanship and imagination to produce the same result as drawn on illustration. So my first project is square feet. The square feet is hard to create when you don't have a tools. And the second one is the V fitting. The V fit is also hard when you don't have a proper tools because you cannot align it with the proper markings, and when you mess up it's hard to come back, and it has a very narrow, very very narrow point that hard to pinpoint using the loosened hacksaw. And the next one is the rectangular tray. Basically, the rectangular tray is a rectangular piece or rectangular sheet metal that can hold a amount of a sun or sun, water, etc. So the problem that I across in the rectangular tray is the not aligned or not straight cuttings of the sheet metal because of the improper or not sharp equipment. Because of that, it is hard to create a straight line and create a proper cut in the designated marking lines. And I learned that it is important to have a straight and constant size in the both sides of the rectangular tray, and also the smaller width the width of the rectangular tray must be straight and aligned with each other. If it is not aligned, it is hard to put them together and build a rectangular tray. And the next project is the round pipe. The same as the rectangular tray, the round pipe is hard to put together when it is not properly aligned. I have It is the problem that I encountered on my 3 trials. And to build a round pipe, you should have a proper equipment like the vise, the cube, hammer, chisel, and etc. And the marking should be aligned with each other. When it is not aligned, your work will be destroyed and cannot be put together. So the next project I created is the dovetail. The dovetail is a T-lap joint, but the joint is a dove tail. So in this project, you should have a straight line or straight markings, and you must follow it to ensure the two workpieces will join together. Then after you mark them, you should cut them, and after you cut them, you check the alignment. If the alignment is wrong, just use the file to straighten and flatten the overlap pieces or parts of the two working pieces. And you should maintain your eye on the marking. When you lose or over trim the pieces, it is hard or cannot be come back or be built same as goes as the other piece. The cross-off joint is commonly used in the furnitures. The cross-off joint has to be a proper alignment and proper length of the two pieces to combine with each other. It is hard to put together a two pieces when it is not aligned. So what I did in the cross half lap joint is first is mark, and then I use the chisel to cut in the half of the workpiece. But first I saw the two sides of the workpieces in the middle, and after that I used the chisel to remove the part of the mark line of the workpiece. And after removing it, I used the file to smoothen it. And as same as goes as the next next piece or the partner of the first piece that I created. So basically, when it is done, it is looks like a cross and it is lapping each other. That's why it's called cross half lap joint. My next project is the T-lap joint. The T-lap joint is hard to create when you don't have a proper equipment. And first is mark and make sure that it is aligned as same as goes as the second piece. And after you cut the two pieces, but firstly use the saw to cut the pieces and use the file to remove entirely the pieces or parts of the work pieces to have a result that you want. And you should remain in the marked location or mark in the pieces. If you are not aligned or not exact in the line, it is hard to repair the damage that have done. So be careful. And after you remove the particles or parts of the wood, use the file to smoothen the surface of the wood. And after that, join them and make sure that it is aligned. Butt joint. So the butt joint is hard for the beginners. But when you use up to the butt joint, you will see the proper result. So when I am creating the butt joint, I encounter some problems like when you have a wet hands, the electric will shock you. So be careful. So that is what I learned from the butt joint, and I learned that it is reliable technique that can join a two metal and cannot easily be separated from each other, and it is commonly used in the welding. Lap joint. So the lap joint is basically the two pieces that lapping each other. After you lap the two pieces together, you will weld them and make sure the pieces are clean and to be easily to be welded. And place your welding rod to the intersection of the two pieces. And after that, weld it. And after you weld it, make sure that it is aligned to each other before you weld. Because when it is not, it is hard to remove the two pieces or to correct your mistake. So the lap joint is commonly used in the creating in trusses in the houses or in the building a car, for example. It is useful because when you are lapping two metal or material, you can use it to combine the two of them and make a proper proper joint and strong that can hold to each other. The next one is the corner joint. So I use the TIG welding in the corner joint instead of MIG welding because I don't have a proper equipment. But I get the same result or close to the same result. So the corner joint is commonly used in the corners, just like in the name, corners. Just like in the furniture, in the creating the cars, for example, the body of the car, there are corners in that, and you are using a corner joint. So to get a result, to have a better result in the corner joint, you should clean your pieces. And first is align them to each other and join them together to receive a better result. Just like in the butt joint, you will use the technique in butt joint but in the corners. And the last is the fillet joint. The fillet joint is the beautiful and reliable in the welding. It is hard, but when you have done it, you will feel that you accomplished something. So the fillet joint is the joining two pieces in 90 degrees angle. So when you are joining a 90 degrees angle, that is called a fillet joint. So to create a fillet joint, you will have a hands in a some certain degree, and y- your hand will be in the right will be 10 degrees to have a better result. When you are doing the fillet joint, the counting in that is 1 2 back and forward, 1 2 back forward until at the last, to have a scaly or scale effect in the welding parts, or the fillet effect. But when after you're done in the fillet, you will see is the like a scale of a fish. It is next to each other, lapping each other, and has a beautiful metal metal scale, just like a beautiful metal scale. Thank you for listening to my presentation. So my conclusion is, or what have I learned is, always wear a protective equipment. For example, in the welding, when I didn't wear a mask or face protection, I got a sunburn. So means for me. And when you have a proper equipment, you have a better result. That's what I learned. And the most important in my work or working working place, and most important tools, the bench vise, because it holds all the material that I created. It is very useful in for cutting. It holds the materials for cutting and welding that, and connecting it to the ground so that I will not touch it, or use some special technique to join the two materials. So in the workshop, always wear a protective equipment. Always turn off the equipment when not used, and always turn off the energy or the power source of the tools or equipment that you are using, to avoid accidents when not using, or when you will change a gears or tools, for example. And always ask for guidance in the person who knows how to use that equipment. So, and that's my presentation. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. Thank you.